Yeah, baby, you guys know what it's time for. It is time for that bonus content. Or as I like to call it, boner content. Okay, that's awkward. Anyway, alright, so Alex Jones has now weighed in on the feud between Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Matt Walsh, all those guys, and Steven Crowder. And he's going to white knight for Steven Crowder. So let's listen to this back and forth. And I'm going to warn you up front, there's going to be a lot of fact-checking, because you're going to be unsurprised to hear Alex Jones plays very fast and loose with the facts. So let's dive into it.
Let's get into, the media calls a circular firing squad between Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro, but that's not. He said, I don't want the $50 million, which was over 5 years with bandwidth and crew. That's not that much money, folks. That ain't worth that much. I can tell you what it takes to run this.
Okay, you guys know me. Normally, I default to, if somebody says something wrong, I assume it's like ignorance. I very rarely go right to, this is like malicious, right? I don't break out the, oh, this is a lie card very quickly. I just assume the best in people until overwhelmingly proven otherwise. In this instance, Alex Jones is definitely lying. He knows he's lying. $12.5 million a year, which is what Crowder would have gotten, to run his show, his internet show. I'm in this business. I know what it costs. To say $12.5 million a year is not a lot to run his internet show, which, by the way, he doesn't do nearly as often as most internet shows. Most internet shows, you know, political internet shows are anywhere from 3 days a week to 5 days a week, and apparently Steven Crowder doesn't work anywhere near that much. And you're telling me, even if you give him a gigantic crew for his show, the idea $12.5 million isn't enough is just a brazen lie. A brazen lie. Absolute maximum, even dealing with his staff. He claims he has 25 staff. I've seen no evidence of that. But, you know, absolute maximum, dealing with a giant staff, running what he's running. Make $2 million maybe? $2? And so that leaves $10 million for his pocket? So Alex Jones is just flat out lying right here.
He's running a similar operation. So he leaves the Blaze. He goes to them. They send him a contract saying if big tech censors you, you're locked into the contract for 5 years, but you're not going to be paid any money. He said, this is insane. I'm not taking the deal, but what about your...
That is also not true. The Daily Wire went through the specifics of the contract on air and explained every single line. And did you hear how Alex Jones did a massive straw man of what the contract says? Listen again.
Locked into the contract for 5 years, but you're not going to be paid any money. He said, this is insane. I'm not taking the deal, but what about your people? He goes, well, they're wage slaves. Then they spun it that he was mad and wanted more money, so he releases the recording showing that wasn't it. He had to. People said, oh, he's a bitch releasing that. He's only recorded people 3 times. I don't record people very often, but I did with Megyn Kelly because when it's that evil, you should record it. Give us your take on it.
I love the, like, bro, he only recorded people 3 times in his life. You know how many times I've recorded somebody in my life? 0. You know how many times any normal person has recorded somebody in their life? 0 times. I mean, come on. Who are we kidding here? A lot of states are what's called two-party states where you need approval in order to record the phone call. Apparently, Texas happens to be a one-party state where they allow one person to secretly record a phone call with another person. But who are we kidding here? The overwhelming majority of people have never recorded a phone call with somebody else. But honestly, that's the ancillary point, because what Alex is saying here is, oh, it's not about the money. The Daily Wire is saying it's about the money, but it's not about the money. But what we learned when Steven Crowder went on Timcast and Luke Rudkowski asked the question multiple times, he followed up multiple times, credit to Luke on that front. He said, did you counteroffer? And when Crowder tried to weasel out of it, he asked again, did you counteroffer? And then he tried to weasel out of it again, and Luke asked again, did you counteroffer? In fact, what he said was it you or was it your agent that counteroffered? And Crowder tap-danced around it, but kind of admitted, like, yeah, there was a counteroffer, but it came from my agent. Now, the way these things work is, the agent would not just counteroffer on their own. The agent would have some degree of approval from the talent to counteroffer. And so, the reality is, he was offered $50 million. It had those provisions in the contract he didn't like about big tech. But Crowder responded apparently and said, look, we got at least 130 or 120 million. So wait, if it's not about the money, then why did you counteroffer and give a number? Because it is about the money. And he probably would have accepted those provisions if the Daily Wire said yes to 120 or 130 million. Because, again, those provisions, they're also flat out misleading people about what those provisions are. One of them, which stuck out to me, which I've told you guys a number of times, is if he loses 50% of his YouTube revenue, so half of his advertisers, gonzo, gone, he only loses 25% of his fee. So the Daily Wire is assuming some of the risk. He's pretending like, no, I'm assuming all of the risk. And he's got this bogus line, apparently he doesn't understand how contracts work, or he's lying on purpose, where he says, oh, they could take up 110% of my, of the money they're offering me. So I would owe the Daily Wire if all these bad things happen. That's not true. He's not reading the contract properly.
Absolutely. I mean, the contract wasn't a $50 million contract. The contract was an indentured servitude contract to be loyal to big tech, or you lose your money for the next 6 years. You do the math. I mean, we've done these kind of contracts. We've seen these kind of contracts. It's common in the entertainment industry, sadly.
It's a classic old record executive where, oh, you might get this if you do everything we say.
Exactly. It's a contract that puts a big dollar amount up front that makes you tempted to take it. Then you dig into the details and you find out what this deal did. Steven Crowder was going to have to pay the Daily Wire money to produce his own content.
That's a lie. That's not true. They don't know what they're talking about. Shock, on InfoWars, they're playing fast and loose with the facts. And again, my estimation is this is on purpose. They're taking a side between the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, and Steven Crowder, and they're going to side with Steven Crowder, and you'll see there's a little bit of a hint later on as to why that is, right? Well, there's a number of things that go into this, but you'll see. Watch.
And Daily Wire would keep all of the profits. It was literal indentured servitude. If big tech censored him, he owed them money under the contract. They didn't owe him anything, and they owned him for up to 6 years.
That's not true. It's a small percentage of the fee is reduced if he loses a colossal gargantuan amount of his revenue, which is standard business practice. Now, by the way, he also could have negotiated these parts out of the contract if he wanted to, but he didn't really want to negotiate other than hit him with 120 or 130 million, which is preposterous. And then they say, well, we're clearly not going to come to a deal. And so everybody walks away.
Unilateral provisions in place. So the contract wasn't a $50 million contract. It was, hey, Steven Crowder, be an indentured servant, be loyal to big tech, or you're...
Indentured servant? I just can't. Let me ask you guys a question. If you guys were offered $150 million with those terms, or excuse me, if you guys were offered $50 million with those terms, what would you say? What would you say? Forgetting the fact you have to be a soulless, right-wing, insane person. Like, what would you say? You'd still be, it doesn't seem like indentured servitude to me, dog. People are watching this and they make like $14 an hour and they're like, indentured servitude, my ass cheeks.
Or be, that's your choice. Either be loyal to big tech or you're going to be an indentured servant.
And they even said, be our slave on the audio.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. That's exactly what it was all about. It was about the Daily Wire was founded by a billionaire family out of Texas, connected to natural gas and fracking, that's involved in a real weird religious movement that backed Ted Cruz, that founded the Daily Wire to take out Breitbart and Bannon, to try to take out the populist wing of the Republican Party. Jeremy Boring has admitted that it being an anti-Trump platform was their foundation. They were backed by spook-related money and spook-related...
Okay, so here's why this is glorious and hilarious. So now you see, one of the main reasons they're siding with Crowder over Shapiro is that they know, hey, Shapiro was originally anti-Trump, and Shapiro is more of a representation of the establishment guard in the Republican Party. Now, they view Crowder as, oh, he's more of a populist. He's more from the Trump wing of the party. The hilarious counterpoint here is Crowder backed Ted Cruz over Donald Trump. Crowder did that. So to put, Steven Crowder in league with, Steve Bannon, Breitbart, Crowder was one of the most aggressive supporters of Ted Cruz. So Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro and Crowder agreed on the primary Republican that they liked the most. So this guy, he's just fudging the facts to fit his narrative. God, these people, they're either so lazy, so ignorant, or such liars, or all three.
Sources. Their goal, it's not a coincidence they were big backers of Ted Cruz. It's not a coincidence they were big Trump haters. It's not a coincidence they've whored for every war in existence.
Yeah, there's no doubt that if you're...
Steven Crowder did too. Oh my God. Steven Crowder is guilty of all of those things. And by the way, even Donald Trump is flirting with liking DeSantis over Donald Trump. Why? Because DeSantis is more vaccine skeptical. Or what did I say? Did I say Alex Jones? I'm sorry, my brain's not working. I literally just woke up. But Alex Jones was flirting with preferring DeSantis to Trump because DeSantis is more of a vaccine skeptic, and that's a big thing for Alex Jones. So what, like, oh my God, these are messy bitches who love the drama, and their takes aren't even coherent.
You're going to control the opposition, you should lead it. And it's 100% that Ben Shapiro is a figurehead, and there's some good people at the Daily Wire. I don't want to attack them all, but I'm going to tell you folks, they are worse than the Democrats. They are the Judas goats. They are Judas Iscariot. Ben Shapiro is...
Oh, there we go. Oh, Judas, led by Ben Shapiro. There's some good people there, but, you know, come on. Look like you're being led by this Jew. Oh. Okay, Alex. Okay. So that's part of it, too, right? The Daily Wire, led by Jews. So there's a nice, healthy dash of anti-Semitism mixed in here, too. So in their mind, there's this right-wing civil war. You got the pro-Trump people and the anti-Trump people. The anti-Trump people are just in league with the establishment, and you got some dirty Jewish businessmen who are running the Daily Wire. I see. Jesus Christ, man. Look, I gotta say, I do love watching this. I do love watching this because you guys know for the longest time it was always the left. Everybody slitting each other's throat. It's the narcissism of small differences. It's the I'm gonna out virtue signal the other guy. I'm more left. No, I'm more left. No, I'm the only pure uncorrupted lefty. No, I'm the only pure uncorrupted lefty. And it's so childish and it's so dumb and it's so stupid, and it really puts it in perspective just how stupid it is when you see the right wingers doing the same thing now. You see them like trying to out virtue signal each other. I'm the only pure, uncorrupted voice in the right-wing movement. Oh, let them fight, baby. Let them fight. And just so everybody knows, this is how ridiculous the left looks, too, when they're slitting each other's throat over small differences.
Judas Iscariot.
Absolutely. I mean, and then he comes out and he lies about the contract. He lies about Steven Crowder. He lies about the negotiations. That's who these people... It's not a coincidence.
Okay, again, they went through every line of the contract. I don't like the Daily Wire. I despise the Daily Wire. I think Ben Shapiro does just as much damage to the body politic as Steven Crowder does. I have no dog in this fight. But Jeremy Boring went through every line of the contract. It was Crowder who omitted parts of the contract. These guys, man, they are something else. They are something else.
When we saw the Twitter bots turn on against Crowder, that's when you know. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be all bots, right? It's all bots. None of it is genuine disagreement of, hey, I'm a right-winger, I support the right wing, and this guy is ripping apart the right wing with some bogus prima donna fight. Can't be that, right, Alex? Anybody who disagrees with me is a bot, is an NPC. It's all fake. Anybody who agrees with me is correct.
Not only that, look at the institutional media. All the media was anti-Crowder. That was their spin on this. The Reuters, AP, Young Turks, Media Matters, all those organizations all took the spin for the Daily Wire against Steven Crowder. I think
it's not spin. It's objective analysis. Again, I hate Ben Shapiro. I hate Steven Crowder. This is just, hey, let's look at the facts and come to a conclusion. This guy's not even acknowledging the basic facts.
Crowder stumbled into this. Crowder didn't realize he was stumbling into an Operation Mockingbird operation. But, I mean, to give people an idea, the Daily Wire is backed by billionaires, probably $1 billion company, makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year. This deal was done in order to lock up and co-opt and control and cabin and contain conservative voices.
Which was what?
Okay. All of you guys are backed by billionaires. Maybe at this point, Alex Jones isn't, because all the Sandy Hook conspiracy theory stuff and going too far on a number of things that are way outside the Overton window to normie Americans. Maybe Alex Jones isn't, but every other conservative voice in the movement over a certain size is backed by billionaire money. Steven Crowder has worked for multiple billionaires over the years. He's worked for at least 3 different billionaires. He's only been independent for a short window of time recently. Okay? All of you guys are backed by billionaires. All of you guys support billionaire policies. This is why all of you were simping for the 2017 Trump tax cuts, where 83% of the benefits went to the top 1%. It was a massive tax cut for corporations, and that bill incentivized outsourcing of American jobs. You know how you all virtue signal about, like, we got to keep our jobs here, we got to look out for working people. You all supported a bill that outsourced those jobs. And now again, you're having a virtue signaling contest as, bro, you guys are corrupted. You guys are bought by, all of you are bought by billionaire money. All of you are corrupted. All of you are a joke. None of you are for the working class. Who are we kidding here? He's hawking ultimate bone broth in the background here. Ultimate bone broth. You know, Alex Jones hawks dick pills on a regular basis. Lord only knows what's in those pills. Right? Total scam artist stuff. And their argument here is, bro, it's fucking Daily Wire scamming and stuff, bro. Look in the mirror.
Fox News has been doing forever. Which is what Fox News did forever.
Absolutely. It's exactly right. You couldn't have a bigger contrast than the Daily Wire and InfoWars. See, what is a lot of people who follow the Daily Wire, they follow, Candace Owens can say some really good stuff. Andrew Klavan can say some really good stuff. They sometimes say really good stuff. But when you need them, the leaders of the Daily Wire are on the wrong side.
They're pro-shot. They're pro-New World Order. Absolutely.
Also, the guy who you all hitched your wagon to, Donald Trump, is quote-unquote pro-shot. He's pro-vaccine. Why is he getting a skate on in this conversation? Why are you making these dividing lines where Trump's in your camp, and even though he's quote-unquote pro-shot? Look, the fact of the matter is, there are a handful of issues where Ben Shapiro was slightly better than Steven Crowder. And if I dig deep enough, I might find a handful of issues where Crowder's better than Ben Shapiro, but one of the main things is, Ben Shapiro is not full, vaccine conspiracy theorist, and Ben Shapiro is not full election denialist idiot nonsense, right? And so these are the real issues they have with him. You're not dumb enough. You're not wrong enough, Ben. Come on, get it together.
Anti-gun.
Absolutely.
Anti-gun. I've never seen anybody at the Daily Wire be anti-gun.
They are, and that's the definition of controlled opposition. There'll be opposition on some things where we share alignment, but they'll be controlled on the big issues that threaten deep state power. That's the difference between, I always say how they respond to Alex Jones describes it. Do they embrace defending free speech?
No. Ben Shapiro supported my banning. All right, Barnes, great job. We should support Stephen.
I have no idea if that's true. Ben Shapiro has been pretty consistently against deplatforming, especially for people on the right. It may be true. I don't know. I'd have to go dig through however much stuff to figure out if that's accurate. But look, what this is, and you guys know this, you could tell. It's a virtue signaling contest, right? I'm more right-wing. No, I'm more right-wing. No, I'm more pure. No, I'm more pure. No, I'm the only uncorrupted voice. No, I'm the only uncorrupted voice. That's what this is. And again, I kind of love to see it. Because this is what happens on the left endlessly. And now it's happening on the right. And they're messy, man. They're messy. In fact, however bad it's been on the left, it's going to get way worse on the right, I think, because I genuinely believe these people are way more vicious, So, interesting to see it. Clearly, Alex Jones is siding with Steven Crowder over Ben Shapiro. And again, there's a plethora of reasons, but the gist of it is the vaccine stuff, the election denialism stuff, supporting DeSantis over Trump and previously supporting Ted Cruz over Trump. But hilarious because, again, Trump's pro-vaccine, and Steven Crowder also supported Ted Cruz over Donald Trump. Just messy dividing lines, but something at the core of it also is like, look at the dirty Jew running the dirty business. And again, them complain about, billionaire backing, bro. The whole right-wing movement in this country is swimming in billionaire money. That's why you don't see a story about Kyle Kulinski gets offered $50 million and turns it down and throws a tantrum. Because nobody would ever offer me $50 million. We don't have big money on this side. In fact, as a matter of principle, even if I was offered it, of course I couldn't take it because the authenticity of my voice is tied to the fact that I've never had a conversation with an advertiser ever in my entire time doing the show, and you guys paid me $5 a pop. Whether it's on Patreon or whether you go to Substack, right? That's what it is. So you want to talk about independent anti-billionaire voices, there's only one place you can go for that, and it's the left. So Jesus Christ, man, this was something else.